Approximately 1.1 billion people worldwide have hypertension with prevalence of 1 in 4 men and 1 in 5 women. National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute says, nearly 75% trusted source of all U.S. adults over 20 years old fall into one of the two categories. Obesity generally describes an increase of fat cells in the body or an increase in their size. It can be caused by the amount and types of food you eat, amount of physical activity you get, your genetics, your family history, amount and quality of sleep you get. Obesity is a cause for concern as it increases your risk of many health conditions, including heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. It's worth noting that the effects of weight discrimination can also contribute to negative health effects. Hypertension, or high blood pressure, is a common condition in which blood flows through your arteries at higher than usual pressures. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC trusted source, high blood pressure can lead to heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, brain and cognitive problems, and higher risk of dementia. Can obesity cause hypertension? Obesity can cause you to develop hypertension, or worsen it if you already have it. A 2020 review estimates that obesity accounts for 65 to 78% trusted source of cases of primary hypertension. Having more fat tissue can cause complex changes in the body that combine to create or worsen hypertension. Those changes include sympathetic nervous system overactivation, stimulation of the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone (RAAS) system, changes in adipose-derived cytokines, hormones, insulin resistance, changes to the kidneys and how they function. Obesity versus overweight. The difference between obesity and overweight is the number of fat cells present. Doctors measure this using body mass index, BMI. Your BMI is the ratio between your weight and your height. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC trusted source considers a person overweight with a BMI between 25 and 29.9. A BMI of 30 or higher indicates obesity. Not sure what your BMI is? Use the CDC tool Trusted Source. BMI is not always the best marker for obesity, though, as it doesn't consider how people carry their weight. Your amount of visceral fat, or fat carried around your abdomen, may put you most at risk of complications. Some scientists will consider your waist size trusted source to be a better indicator. Obesity-induced hypertension. Obesity can cause or worsen hypertension in a variety of ways. Having obesity can also make it more difficult to treat hypertension because of other related health conditions. The mechanisms through which obesity causes or worsens hypertension include changed hormone signaling, changes in the function of the sympathetic nervous system, part of the autonomic nervous system in charge of the fight or flight response, and alterations in the structure and function of the kidneys. Many people who have obesity carry a higher proportion of visceral fat, meaning fat around their midsection. Visceral fat surrounds and puts pressure on the abdominal organs and more stress on the cardiovascular system. This extra pressure often leads to resistant hypertension, the uncontrolled blood pressure. Renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. A 2017 review suggests that one of the contributors to high blood pressure is the RAS system. The RAS helps to regulate blood volume and pressure across your whole body. When the RAS system is not acting properly, blood pressure can remain elevated for a long time. Sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is part of the body's autonomic nervous system. People often call it the fight or flight system. It plays a key role in your metabolism and heart health. Storing a lot of fat, especially visceral, causes higher levels of certain hormones to be secreted, according to 2015 research. These hormones cause this system to become overactive, leading to insulin resistance and even organ damage. Renal compression. Having a lot of body fat increases the pressure on the kidneys. The kidneys are in charge of excreting excess water and regulating the level of salt in the body, which helps to regulate blood pressure. When squeezed for a long time, your kidneys become less efficient at absorbing and excreting water and salt. If you have obesity, your kidneys also need a higher than average blood flow to function properly. This increases blood pressure. Leptin resistance. Leptin is a hormone that makes you less hungry by telling your body you are full. This helps you maintain a moderate weight. Some people, especially those with obesity, are resistant to leptin. Some people, especially those with obesity, are resistant to leptin. They have plenty of leptin in their bodies. But it doesn't create a sense of satisfaction because their body can't use it in the right way. Those with leptin resistance are more likely to eat a lot and still feel hungry, leading to weight gain. Part of the problem is that more fat cells create more leptin, so your body becomes increasingly tolerant to its effects. Leptin may also affect your blood pressure. If leptin isn't working properly in your body, it can cause hypertension. Insulin resistance. Obesity can sometimes trigger other conditions, including type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. Your pancreas creates insulin, a hormone that allows your cells to absorb sugar and use it for energy. If you have insulin resistance, your cells don't respond to insulin in a typical way. More insulin is needed to achieve the same effect. Over time, your pancreas becomes overworked and can't make enough insulin to keep your blood sugar down, such as in type 2 diabetes. When blood sugar is high for too long, it can damage or harden arteries. This leads to or worsens high blood pressure. How is hypertension treated in people with obesity? It's very possible to reverse or mitigate these body changes and manage your weight and blood pressure. Weight loss is the primary method doctors use to treat both conditions. They often recommend dietary and lifestyle changes, sometimes combined with bariatric or weight loss surgery. Doctors usually combine weight loss, with or without surgery, with other interventions, including medications. Because medications can have side effects, doctors recommend deep lifestyle changes to manage your weight. Medication. Doctors can prescribe several medications to help treat obesity-related hypertension. Surgery. Doctors who treat obesity generally provide counseling on lifestyle changes. They'll suggest a diet that includes less salt, caffeine, and alcohol. They'll also encourage more exercise. Lifestyle changes. Considerable lifestyle changes are key to establishing a moderate weight and maintaining it. Those changes include eating a healthy, lower-calorie diet, limiting caffeine. Getting active by finding an activity you enjoy and doing it regularly, getting a good night's sleep, avoiding excessive alcohol consumption. Quitting smoking if you do smoke and avoiding secondhand smoke, managing stress, monitoring blood pressure at home, getting support from family and friends. Dietary changes. Doctors may advise that people with obesity and hypertension eat a low-calorie diet. This ranges from 500 to 1,500 calories per day for men and from 500 to 1,200 calories per day for women. They should also eat less salt, both added salt and the kind found in many processed foods, lower their intake of saturated fats and cholesterol. Increase intake of water, fruits, fresh and raw vegetables, fish, lean meats, and whole grains. Hypertension in children with obesity. Like adults, children are now far more likely to be overweight or have obesity. Children with obesity are at increased risk of high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and insulin resistance. They're also at greater risk of having cardiovascular disease in adulthood. Children up to 20 years old have obesity if they have a BMI at or higher than the 95th percentile for their age and gender.